We always talk about Starlight as the villain who was interested in time travel, but there's another villain who was as well, Nightmare Moon. After Twilight had seen Equestria at war against Sombra and in hiding from Chrysalis, she returned to a third present, an Equestria dominated by Nightmare Moon. When Twilight was telling that world's rarity how she had gotten there, Nightmare Moon was listening from the shadows. She demanded Twilight give her the time travel spell, claiming no one in her kingdom but her should possess such a power. Turns out she wanted to use the spell for herself, but what could the Empress of the Night want with a time travel spell? All of Equestria was already hers. Luckily, she tells us, quote, "With it, I will ensure that the elements of harmony are never found, and my reign lasts forever." She wanted to use time travel to make sure she could stay in power. At first I thought, that doesn't make sense. You don't need time travel to keep people from finding the elements. Why doesn't she just destroy them like Sombra did? Then I remembered our Nightmare Moon tried that and it didn't work. At the time, the elements weren't even in physical space. They were hidden, only to be revealed magically. The elements would always be one spark of friendship away from being unlocked. Now we can understand the looming threat that the existence of the elements posed to Nightmare Moon. Our Nightmare Moon might not have realized this, but this one had time to think and worry about everything that could threaten her reign. With the time travel spell, she could travel back to before the elements were hidden and then destroy them Sombra style. This is what I think she was so determined to do with that spell. Without Twilight's fast thinking here, Nightmare Moon would have harnessed time travel to alter fate and secure her rule. Good thing she didn't though, right? Right? Twilight may have escaped with her copy of the spell that Starlight had edited, but this world also has a Star Swirl time travel spell, and it also has a Starlight. Let's talk about the other Starlights. When the main six were first led to her village, she'd probably been running it for quite some time, and I imagine her backstory would have unfolded pretty much the same with or without the Rain Boom. So there's a strong chance Starlight was running her cult in every timeline. The village would have faced the other realities. Though being in the middle of nowhere does have its advantages. They probably wouldn't even notice anything amiss under Chrysalis. Huh. What? Do things seem greener to you? Huh. Yeah, it's like a tint. Yeah, like a tint. Yeah, I see it. Yeah. Or like a filter or something. Yeah, that too. Yeah. Strange. Yeah. They would be fine, but Nightmare Moon, that would affect them. Not only would the village lose the sun, they'd lose their leader too. Let's back up a bit. So you're Nightmare Moon. You've just been visited by a pony from a different timeline who described to you how she was able to defeat you with the elements. She then escaped with the spell that you need to keep the elements from being found. What do? First, you're gonna try to find your world's version of that spell. It's unlikely she had destroyed the Canterlot archive. If anything, she'd have relocated the documents to the new capital and barred them from public access. So Nightmare Moon sorts through the archive and finds Star Swirl's time travel spell. However, when she uses it, she has a similar experience to when Twilight used it. The spell isn't enough to do what she wants. The visitor must have had an altered version of the spell, so Nightmare Moon set her ambition on finding the pony who did the altering. She does this not by searching the waking world, but by scouring the dreamscape. She discovers a cluster of strangely similar, brainwashed dreams. At the center of it is the pony she sought out for, Starlight Glimmer, a very powerful leader who was able to alter the destinies of her subjects. No one in Nightmare Moon's kingdom but her should possess such a power. So she kidnaps Starlight, announces the village to be the sovereign territory of Nightmare Moon, and vanishes. Starlight's followers now have to make sense of life without her. Double Diamond, the most dogmatically faithful of them all, may step up to lead the cult, but there's a good chance without their founder, things would just fall apart. Some of the villagers may decide to break the Cutie Mark vaults, ending the project for everyone. Meanwhile, Nightmare Moon forces Starlight to work on the spell, warping it to suit her goals. Starlight has no idea that all of this is because another version of herself altered the same spell and created the very timeline she calls home. When Starlight finishes the spell, Nightmare Moon throws her in prison and finally enacts her plan. Traveling to the past, Nightmare Moon destroys the elements and returns to an alternate present in which her greatest threat no longer exists. There's no stopping her now. It's very possible Nightmare Moon's empire still reigns supreme into the new era. Either she's somehow still alive through some dark magic, or she had descendants who inherited the throne. Regardless, things are gonna look pretty dark in that timeline. Literally. But as viewers of this channel know well by now, that's only half the story. Just as I think the Nightmare Moon timeline continued after Twilight left, I think it would continue after Nightmare Moon left. The timeline she left behind is still out there. From their perspective, the queen just up and vanished without a trace. Maybe this timeline turns around for the better. Like if Celestia is eventually released and able to restore a semblance of normalcy. Or maybe another villain fills the vacuum. Remember how Chrysalis could impersonate Celestia and lead a revolution against Nightmare Moon? Well, in a timeline where Nightmare Moon conveniently disappeared, Chrysalis could just skip the revolution step and impersonate Nightmare Moon herself. Like, hey, I'm back, did you miss me? And just like that, she's in control. But that's assuming Chrysalis hadn't already been dealt with at this point. It's possible another villain filled the vacuum. What if after Starlight was thrown in jail, she restarted her cult from scratch? Playing the martyr, she'd begin by converting jailmates, slowly getting the word out and eventually spreading across Equestria. We never did get to see what would happen if Starlight's original plan was successful. All of this multiverse madness was originally her doing. In fact, it's possible Starlight's goal in preventing the main six wasn't just revenge, but to create a world in which her cult would be safe from the main six. It's only fitting that evil Starlight would get a chance to shine in the multiverse that she created. But who knows really? The possibilities of what could happen in this timeline are endless. Or for that matter, in the timeline that Nightmare Moon created. It's crazy to think that alternate timelines may have spawned their own alternate timelines. Where does the insanity end? Does the insanity end? What do you think? Did Nightmare Moon eventually harness time travel? If so, what were the results of that? Leave your thoughts in the comments. If you liked the video, like the video. And if you want to see more, subscribe and ring the bell. If you want to support this channel financially, check out me and my sister's t-shirts on Etsy, or you could check out my perks at patreon.com/sawtoothwaves. And thank you so much to everyone who already has, especially my Alicorn tier patrons. The Nameless One, Equinox3141, Darth Sylar 12, Maximilian HG, Cyanax, Solar Scripture, Princess Starglow, Grim Eclipse, Color Shine, Torn, Ishi, Jane Shadow, and this video's Alicorn of the Week, Gunnar Clovis. Congrats, and thanks again for everyone's support. Y'all help make this channel possible. I'm Sawtooth Waves signing out until next time. Brohoof.